Welcome, I'm Mike Bragg, Dallam Hartley County Extension Agent. We're back in the J. Willard field and lots of things has happened. We're going to talk about some things that's happened. Welcome to the Cotton and Conservation video series sponsored by the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District. Things we're going to cover today will be irrigation, growing degree days, growth regulators, pests, and we'll talk a little bit of how to calculate plant height to node ratio. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about irrigation. This is a half-mile center pivot system. We've been around this field starting about the first week of June, about 10 times. We speed it up when we come across the cotton. We're only putting out 0.15 inches every time we go across this cotton. So we put on about 3/4 of an 0.75 inches on the cotton since we started this crop, and it's 64 days old today. We have had some beneficial rains. The last 30 days about 1.93 inches, and before that another couple of inches. But if we count our irrigation and our rainfall, less than 5 inches up to this point. And so not a whole lot of water, but we did start with a complete wet soil profile. Now let's look at the growing degree days. I mentioned we're at day 64. We've accumulated 804 growing degree days. And we got our first bloom, our first white bloom. And here's one right over here. We got that bloom, one of our first white blooms on July the 22nd. And so we're right on schedule as far as plant development goes. Last week we averaged about 17.5 heat units per day. Now we're getting some hotter weather with nighttime temperatures in the 70s, daytime temperatures nearly 100. And so we're going to be accumulating about 20 to 25 growing degree days a week, a day. And so that's not going to be the issue. Keeping this crop wet and keeping it from getting stressed will be the issue. And hopefully next week we'll have better rain chances. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the pests that we've had. We've cleaned up our corn, our volunteer corn that was out here, and that was done on a dual application. We put in a growth regulator at that same time and put in Section 3 herbicide to clean up our corn. The growth regulator was put on July the 12th, and we're scheduled to put on another PIX application here this week. Keep this plant from growing too much and keep it reproductive. Now let's talk about some of these blooms that we're seeing. The white flower is a flower that came out today. And so that flower hasn't been pollinated yet. And we will see, like this one here, is what we call a candle stage. And this flower is obviously not bloomed out yet, but will in the next day or so. And then when we get over here and we see a pink flower like this is a flower, it once was a white flower, but now it's turned pink. It's pollinated, it's been pollinated, and in about 7 days it will dry up and fall off. And so, and that's where your new bowl is going to be. And so next I was wanting to do is measure our plant height, and we'll use this one that has the white flower. We'll measure our plant height, and this is just a regular yardstick. I'm going to use inches, and I'll go up to this terminal bud, and we've got 17 inches is our plant height. And now we'll count our nodes on this plant, and on this one here, we won't count right here where the cotyledons were. We'll start counting up from there. I've already counted, and we've got 11 nodes. So we had a 17-inch height and 11 nodes. We do the math on that, divide 17 by 11, and you'll get 1.5. And so our plant height to node ratio is 1.5. As long as we're in the range of 1.3 to 1.7, we're in good shape. If we get over 2, that means our plant is growing too fast.